Whoops! We've all had those "why did I do that" moments. But some people take it to a whole new level. From epic fails to instant regret. They paid the price for being dumb. So get ready for a roller coaster of hilarious, facepalm-worthy moments that you won't believe actually happened. Okay, so first things first. What was she even trying to do? Instant karma at its best. This man kicked the chair his friend was sitting on, but instead of his friend falling, he lost his balance and hit the ground. Some jokes just don't go as planned, especially with karma around. This guy thought he'd nail a cool swing stunt, spinning like a wheel, but instead of moving forward, he went backward, flipping straight into the bushes, upside down, stunt level, expert, execution level, epic fail.
Look at this, bro. New Ray-Bans dropped, you know what I'm saying?
This TikTok went viral for all the right reasons. A kid proudly showed off his sunglasses, not noticing the pole right above him. He walked straight into it, then calmly acted like nothing happened, making everyone laugh even more.
We in that good luck.
The friends bet they could clear the fence. One by one, they nailed it until the last guy. His jump turned into a messy crash onto the fence. Sometimes the fence has the final say in bets. Dad and son were enjoying a game with huge balls, but things got chaotic when one ball veered off course, crashing into the PCs. Who knew playtime could end up them losing some expensive PCs? This man saw yellow and assumed it was a ball. He kicked without looking, only to hit a guy's yellow cap right on his head. Awkward. Lesson learned. Not everything yellow is meant to be kicked. The kid aimed for a cool trick with the ball, but his kick went way off target, smashing the roof light instead. Proof that some tricks are better left to the imagination, unless you're ready for a little home renovation. He aimed to impress by running across empty dustbins, but one miss later, he found himself sitting inside one. You never know when the simplest stunts turn into the most hilarious accidents. The plan was simple: jump into pants while leaping off a moving swing, but instead of nailing it, this guy missed completely and landed flat on the ground. Sometimes plans don't go as expected, especially with swings involved. He was sure he'd hit the bottle with his arrow, even while looking at the camera, but his shot went wild, smashing the computer screen instead. Proof that multitasking and archery mix about as well as arrows and electronics.
Come on!
Hello, madam. I want to give you some free cash.
He thought it'd be hilarious to ask a stranger if she wanted cash, but her response? A piercing scream that probably scared him more than her. Lesson learned: not all pranks land well. Sometimes they just scream back.
Free cash, $5 for you. No cash? Well, that was the reaction.
This lady's day turned into a slapstick comedy when she tumbled down the stairs, nearly sliding gracefully, only to have an expensive mirror crash down on her. Proving that life sometimes writes its own hilarious script. This girl tried to break a watermelon by throwing it on the ground, but it stayed stubbornly intact. When she leaned down to inspect it, surprise, it burst right in her face. Watermelon 1, girl 0. Who knew some fruits fight back? The boy kicked the ball with all his might, but his shoe decided to join the adventure, flying through the air alongside it. These kicks come with a bonus launch you never see coming.
No,
The man gave the punching machine everything he had, but the sheer force knocked him off his feet. Some strongest punches can't save you from gravity's sense of humor when you go all in. Football got intense as the game stayed goalless. One man, desperate for a goal, shoved his opponent hard, but instead of the ball, the opponent went sliding down and then straight off the field and out of the stadium altogether. This guy was about to sit down when he pulled the chair back, only for it to tip over. As the chair fell, so did he, crashing to the floor in a hilarious mix of surprise and clumsiness. Sitting down to climb the stairs seemed like a great idea until he started sliding uncontrollably, proving that such fun ideas are better left untested, especially when stairs are involved. This lady aimed for a cool flag stunt, tossing it in a perfect round motion. But instead of catching it, the flag landed right on her head. Turns out, flags have a funny way of stealing the spotlight.
Target neutralized.
This man planned a romantic bicycle ride with his wife, but it turned into a comedy show. As he stepped on the bike, his leg accidentally knocked her, and splash! They both tumbled into the water. Maybe it was a tie. Trying to moonwalk on ice? Bold move. This skater thought they'd channel their inner Michael Jackson, but instead of smooth moves, they crashed straight into a stranger. A big oops. While fixing the car, he was about to carry using the truck. The truck started moving on its own. He rushed inside to apply the brakes, saving the expensive car just in time. Quick thinking turned a potential disaster into a close call. This guy tried to show off by walking on a thin rod. He almost made it, but at the last moment, oops. He fell, so close to being cool, but gravity said, "Not today!" Almost a legend, but not quite. Karma works fast. This man kicked a door with all his might, but Newton's third law struck back hard. The door stayed firm, and he flipped backward onto the ground. So we have our lesson. Actions have instant and hilarious reactions. First, the daughter. Then the dad. And last. It's a family ritual, I believe. For a moment, it seemed like this guy had mastered walking on water, but his friend ruined the illusion by throwing a ball. Splash! The thin ice broke, and down he went. Magic was over, and reality cold and wet. Confidently, this footballer thought he nailed a perfect kick, sending the ball flying. But the fence had other plans. It bounced the ball right back at his head. Sometimes, even the best kicks come with a surprise rebound. Who knew knew a balloon could be so terrifying. This man woke up to find one right beside his bed and nearly screamed in fear. Proof that the simplest things can turn into a nightmare when you least expect it. These friends hatched a prank, pretending they'd caught something huge in a basket. When they revealed it was empty, they bolted, leaving their friend stunned. He chased after them, but tripped and fell. The prank was successful, but the poor friend was not having fun. He dreamed of nailing Michael Jackson's famous lean, but gravity had other plans. He forgot he didn't have the special shoes on him, and straight to the ground he went. Now we know why some moves are best left to the king of pop. McDonald's drive-thru turned into a scene from an action movie. As this man was handing over an order, a biker zoomed in, snatched the bag at lightning speed, and vanished. Fast food? More like a fast getaway. They say don't run on hikes, and this guy learned the hard way. Sprinting down the trail, he slipped and went on a hilarious, unintended slide. Sometimes, the mountain decides your fate, and it's always funny. When it's not your day, it can never be, no matter how hard you try. And this marathon runner proves it for me. Right at the start line, she tripped and fell. And then again, bad luck, more like a comedy of errors. This poor guy thought he'd solve his beehive problem by removing it and shutting the window, but the window had other plans. It fell right off the building. Bees gone, window gone. Problem definitely not solved. They warn you for a reason. She thought she could multitask on a roller coaster, texting while riding, but gravity had other plans. Her phone slipped and fell. Moral of the story, keep your phone tucked away when the ride gets wild. With a beer in hand and a plan to toss it to people on the road, things took a turn when the bottle slipped and shattered before it could even be opened. Turns out, even the simplest plans can go flat in the most unexpected ways.
Mom!
Yes.
Come say hi, hurry.
Hi.
This guy tried the spider filter to scare his mom, and boy, did it work. She was so scared, her reaction was slap, slap, slap. Fear turned into instant revenge. Guess spiders aren't the only thing to be afraid of. A reporter braved the storm to deliver the news near the shore, but a giant wave crashed in, soaking him and snapping his umbrella. The weather writes its own story, no matter how prepared you are. She hopped out of her car, ready to dash home in the rain, but the slippery ground had a surprise. Splat! She fell flat. The rain was undefeated, and the poor girl was soaked. She grabbed her beer mug, ready for a cute sip and a perfect selfie. Then his clumsiness ruined the moment. The drink was everywhere, except for her mouth. Cheers to a photo ruined, and a drink wasted. This computer science major thought he could juggle work and water skating, but the water had other ideas. One wrong move, and he was swimming with his laptop, turning his coding session into an unexpected pool party. He sprinted toward the tree branch, aiming to touch it like a champ. But instead of reaching new heights, he tripped and face-planted. Branch untouched. Ground thoroughly introduced. Gravity wins before you even get close. A guy tried to impress mall visitors by holding a tab in his mouth, but a curious kid on his dad's shoulders decided to test his aim. Smack! The stick knocked the tab away, turning his cool act into a hilarious fail.
And then like do it like this and then like wrap it around.
Whoops, this girl wanted pretty curls, but her hair had other ideas. She left the curler on a bit too long, and her nice hair turned into a burnt mess. Lesson learned. Beauty is pain, but instant boldness? That's next level regret.
My hair was burnt off.
So close to victory. This lady aced jumping over giant rods in the water, but as she reached the land, her final leap failed. Back into the water she went. Almost a champion, but the water had the last laugh.
We've been trying to catch this little mouse.
Okay, so what else was she expecting to happen? This friend thought showing off the little mouse in the jar would be a fun surprise. But forgetting the jar was open led to chaos. The mouse leaped straight onto her friend in the car. This lady dreamed of a peaceful lunch by the pool, but her mind was miles away. Instead of sitting, she walked straight into the water, plates in hand. Daydreaming really came with a splash for her. Running for snacks like it was an Olympic event, he ignored the wet floor. Big mistake. One slip later, he was on the ground, snacks intact, but ego shattered. Lesson: slow and steady wins the snack race. This lady decided to go for a run and returned looking like a snow globe.
Nej, jag dör, vad roligt! Ja! Men alltså, det här är det sjukaste jag tror.
There's no other one like this particular one in the world.
This man trying to demonstrate how this antique cylindrical object works was instantly embarrassed.
It's much more accurately than... Oh.
The antique slipped, hit the ground, and poof, turned into a very expensive regret.
Shit. Oh my God.
Boy was excited for a day on the water so much that he forgot to unload his pocket.
My phone's in my pocket! Why is your phone in your pocket?
And the realization came a little too late, too.
My phone's in my pocket! Why is your phone in your pocket?
In the factory, this worker thought he could carry a mountain of eggs in one go, but gravity had other plans. One slip, and crack. Dozens of eggs became a gooey mess on the floor. Breakfast scramble, anyone? This man dreamed of soaring through the skies, but his paragliding trip took a hilarious turn. Instead of flying high, his backside skimmed the water. Fly high? More like glide low. This lady stepped onto a watermelon-shaped water float, dreaming of a relaxing ride. But nope, one wobble later, she lost her balance and plop, straight into the water. I believe the float had other plans. This man took the don't let them know your next move idea way too seriously. He set up the bed, ready for a big jump, but when the moment came, he completely missed and landed straight on the floor beside it. This man thought he'd show off some stunts by the river, phone in hand, but one wrong kick sent it flying straight into the water. Proof that rivers and phones mix about as well as stunts and bad decisions. Hoping to be like Tarzan, this boy grabbed a rope and swung toward the river, but instead of a graceful arc, he let go too soon. Splash! The river welcomed him with a chilly embrace, reminding him that not everyone can be the Tarzan. She thought she'd gently touch the waves, but the ocean had a surprise. As she reached the final step, a massive wave drenched her and knocked her down. So now we know that sometimes the sea has its own plans. Just as the fork reached his lips, the cat made its move, swiping the food in one quick snatch. Turns out, even the most careful plans can be foiled by a hungry feline with perfect timing. While a group of friends played tug-of-war, one person clearly didn't get the rules. As her friend struggled to pull the rope, she casually pushed it to the opponent's side, completely missing the point of the game. This man thought he'd conquer the skies with his paraglider, but instead, he became a ground gliding expert. The sky was unreached, but the ground thoroughly tested. The wind just doesn't cooperate with your dreams sometimes. He stepped out of the cafe, ready for a peaceful lunch, but the wind had other plans. One gust at a time, it dismantled his sandwich, sending each layer flying. In this time, I guess even sandwiches aren't safe.
Get it!
He aimed for a stunning backflip off the mountain into the river, but the mountain had other plans. The ledge collapsed, and he fell straight into the water. Turns out, the mountain wanted the first dive. Struggling to stay steady, she fought to keep her feet under her on the slippery ice. Every wobble was a battle, but she refused to give in. Ice skating was challenging, but her spirit was unshakable, almost a champion of balance. Down the slide she went, all set for a dramatic finish, but her landing was anything but. She hit the water like a mannequin, not a single move. It was like she forgot to unfreeze midair. He thought standing on the two-wheeler with a rod would be a fun stunt, but when the rod disconnected, he kept shaking in place. Stuck in a hilarious wobble. Turns out some tricks are funnier when they fail spectacularly. This is why picking the right person for furniture testing matters. The man decided to test the bed's flexibility in the store, but as soon as he lay down, the bed gave out completely under his weight. This boy suited up as a dinosaur, ready to scare his neighbors. But his plan went extinct when he tripped and fell outside. Turns out, even dinosaurs can't escape gravity's sense of humor. Just as he marveled at his creation, the container toppled, turning his masterpiece into a messy surprise.
It's like very ingrained, you know? It's hard to break out of that. Like instinctively, I was like...
But he laughed, realizing perfection is overrated, and sometimes the sweetest moments come from life's little disasters.
Don't drop my beef.
Alex, the eternal rule breaker, couldn't resist playing with his friend's toy on the boat. Of course, it broke and fell into the water.
Put it down.
Now the toy's at the bottom of the lake, and Alex is probably already eyeing the next thing to break.
Really, Alex? I just told you.
Your neighbor ain't worried about you.
Always be careful on stage, and we've got the proof. This host was definitely having a rough day. First, the cap of his mic fell off, and then, as he kept walking, he didn't look back and ended up falling off the stage completely. Holding a rope, this man thought he was in control, but nope! The rope decided to play tug-of-war, and he lost. Big time. Instead of pulling, he got pulled. Sometimes, the rope has a mind of its own. This man was excited to fly his drone over the river, but instead of taking off, it slipped and fell straight into the water. Turns out, drones and rivers have a love-hate relationship, and this time, the river won. He dreamed of gliding on water skis, but his trip ended in seconds. One wobble and splash! He was in the water. Sometimes the water has other plans, and your dreams take a dive. She was ready to whip up a delicious omelet, but as she poured the mixture into the pan, the bowl decided to join the party. Splat! Breakfast turned into a chaotic kitchen adventure. Omelet was gone, but laughter served. The waiter was delivering juices to everyone when a guy accidentally knocked into him, sending all the glasses to the floor. Turning a smooth surface into a sticky, glass-covered mess that no one saw coming. This boy thought he'd impress by pulling a file from his back, but he overlooked the laptop there. Bang! The file was out, and the trick was done at what cost? His laptop was broken. Biting hard things is risky, but for older folks, even soft treats can be tricky. This lady went for a bite of her birthday cake, but the real surprise was her fake teeth stuck right in the frosting. Bouncing into the maze with joy, the lady's wig decided to stay behind, clinging to the net like a forgotten accessory. Some adventures are better when they come with a funny twist. As the tic-tac vanished through the gap, he realized that his flaw had turned a failed trick into a hilarious memory. Imperfections sometimes create the most unforgettable moments of joy. He probably got a built-in snack dispenser now. A scuba diver was ready for an epic dive, but his feet had other ideas. They slipped out of his shoes, and down he went. This shows that even the most prepared adventurers can take an unexpected tumble.
1, 2, 3.
Lady left the salon dreaming of perfect brows, but instead got a bold, bushy surprise.
Surprise!
Turns out sometimes perfect means thicker than expected, and now she's rocking a look that's more statement than subtle.
1, 2, 3. Surprise!
God.
The magicians thought they'd nailed the disappearing trick, but the lady had other plans. When the curtain dropped, she was clearly visible behind the rod, making their magic act a hilarious fail. He thought he'd nail the cool move by throwing the ball into the net after dodging chairs, but the ball missed entirely. Looking cool is harder than it seems when gravity and aim don't cooperate. Sometimes life's wild swings leave you no choice but to surrender, lying still as chaos rattles around you. Finding an odd peace in letting go and riding the unpredictable waves with a quiet, unshakable resolve.
Ayo, peeps.
They say your friend can sometimes be your biggest enemy, and this was a perfect example. The man threw his friend's phone, and luckily he caught it. But right after, his friend shoved him into the water and took a dive in himself. While a man was cruising on his boat, minding his own business, whoosh, a fish made a surprise landing right beside him. Maybe it was tired of swimming and fancied a lift. Either way, his quiet day just got a lot more interesting. He tried to look cool, but it didn't go as planned. Thinking he could toss the garbage bag from a distance and land it straight in the bin, it ended up falling right behind the dustbin instead.
Serious?
Dreaming of a perfect dive, this man lined up for a cool jump into the water tub. But his feet had other plans. He tripped before even leaping. The ground wins before the water gets a chance. We all love cats, but sometimes you've got to be careful with your things, especially if they're expensive. This cat, in its playful mood, casually bit the TV and ended up breaking it without a care in the world. A man decided to show off on the kid's trampoline, trying a backflip trick. But instead of landing gracefully, he missed completely and ended up crashing straight into the bushes, giving everyone a good laugh. Flipping an omelet is no easy job, and this man proved it perfectly. As he attempted the trick, the egg flew straight out of the pan and landed square on his face, leaving him stunned and messy. Bikes were stuck halfway in the thick, muddy swamp, their tires covered in muck. One biker stepped down, slipped, and fell right into the swamp.
Sono do job.
All that was left was his helmet floating on the muddy water.
Sono do job.
Shake, hand, and enjoy the show. The Coca-Cola prank is a fizzy classic. The moment the bottle opens, chaos ensues. Messy? Yes. Funny? Absolutely. Coca-Cola jokes are as timeless as the drink itself. Not everyone can be a snooker master, and this man proved it. He aimed for the ball, but sent it straight into the expensive vase instead, shattering it into pieces. Snooker career over before it began. Slime dares have definitely gone too far. These friends were in the middle of their game when, as the second one tossed the slime tub behind him, it somehow landed all over his own face instead of the tub his friend was holding.